everyone. Here we are. We're back here once again in the basement, in the crib.
Back, baby.
It's another week or 2 weeks or whatever it's been, and we're back here recording another video. And we say this every time, but so much has happened since we were last here. Like
way too much.
Oh, let's not even get started on the Blue Jays yet. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, you know what though? The Leafs are eliminated, huh?
Unfortunately, yep.
Yep. I mean, we saw it coming. Even 2 weeks ago or whatever it was when we sat here and recorded this, they were down 3-0. We knew it was coming. But now it's official. And yeah, now we're into late May, getting into the summer, the heart of baseball season. Stanley Cup finals are coming up. The NBA season's winding down. You can tell the summer's on the way, both in the world of sports and outside of it.
Absolutely.
You've been out on the lake a few times, so have I.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Enjoying the nice weather while we can.
Yeah. And we've been on the golf course. And our baseball season's started. We've got a big loss under our belt. Got some batting practice in, but boy, things have changed, huh?
That's for sure, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, you know what? Last couple of videos that we did this, that audio-visual problem, we still didn't fix it. They're still out of sync. So hopefully this one's better.
Yeah.
Just so we noticed that too. It's not just you.
Yeah, it's not just you guys, the viewers.
Hey, the content of the things we talk about is still the same, but just looks a little funny. Whatever. Hopefully this time it's not like that. But bottom line, here we are. We're recording once again. And yeah, let's start with maybe the Leafs. How about?
Sure.
So again, we knew it was coming. They were down 3-0. They bounced back to make it 3-1, but they ultimately lose in 5. So, we talked about the Florida Panthers, right? How they barely made the playoffs, like the Penguins.
They're like the underdogs, right?
A team that still looked good this year, and the Penguins doesn't make it.
Yeah, that was a shocker for sure.
Yeah, and I think the Islanders won a game or something, or beat them, and that's what eliminated them.
Yeah.
I heard also, it might have been the Blackhawks, I don't know. But
I think it was the Blackhawks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Chicago.
If that didn't happen, Florida wouldn't even be here.
That's right.
The Islanders have a history of spoiling teams' dreams, so I just like to think it's the Islanders.
Yeah.
They did it to the Leafs in 2007.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the Panthers, they're on fire. They barely rolled into the playoffs. I don't know, and then, not that I followed the conference finals at all, but I know that they swept the Hurricanes. At this point, it's like, oh, maybe it wasn't just a fluke. Maybe they're actually good. Still, if the Leafs are as good as we think they are, they shouldn't have had that much trouble. They should have won that series.
You would think so.
Should not have lost in 5 at least.
Right.
And yeah, you know what? So all the questions that we've had about this team, about what's going to happen if they lose, now we're asking all those questions in real life, right? We talked, I think it was 2 videos ago, we talked about Dubas and how I don't think they can bring him back after this season if they go out. I mean, to be fair, I said first round. They did win a playoff series, but just the way that they went out in the second round, it's still a success. It's great that they won a first playoff series. We never really seen that in our lifetimes.
No, exactly.
But it's just the way that they lost in the second round. It's still hard to say that it was a success, especially the Panthers. Again, I mean, even if it was the Bruins, same thing. Whatever team won that series. Could
have been any team, right?
Yeah, doesn't matter what team you're playing. At the end of the day, whatever team wins the series, you don't want to play. And the Panthers prove that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So now Dubas is gone, right?
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And it was an interesting scenario.
Mm-hmm.
People had a lot of questions in his press conference. It was pretty good. He was as transparent as he's ever been.
Yeah.
Not just saying all the usual interview things. He was truly saying what he thinks and saying he has to wait for this to process to decide what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
And Shanahan kind of just heard that and said you know what, if he's not all in right now, we're not bringing him back.
See you later, right? Yeah.
I mean, that was one rumor. Then I heard another thing. There was money involved.
I heard that.
And then I heard him and Shanahan were actually negotiating back and forth a lot. And then
I heard that they weren't on the same page.
They weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
But you know what? So now, the question is, so Dubas is gone, but Keefe is still here. What's going to happen there?
I say Keefe's gone too.
He's got to be, right? He was Dubas's guy.
Yeah. I don't see him on the bench next season.
They're a package deal, right? Dubas brought him in. He was this guy with the Marlies too. They've worked together for a long time.
And Sault Ste. Marie, right?
Yeah, he's proven. It's not just Dubas. It's Dubas, Keefe, his whole team, like,
yeah.
regardless of if it's their fault or not, what they've done just hasn't worked, and we need a change.
Yeah.
So I think if you're getting rid of Dubas, Keefe's got to go too.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know who they're going to bring in to replace him, but it just makes sense, right? And the other question is Shanahan himself, the one who made the announcement about Dubas. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. We talked about it before as well. His whole plan. He's the one that brought this executive team in.
Yeah.
He had his Shana plan that I don't think it was supposed to take this long, was it?
No, it looks like it's kind of a fail so far, right?
Like, as much as you can blame either the players, either Dubas, Keefe, like Shanahan's got to take some blame.
Yeah.
So
I would think
maybe
so.
it's time for a new president.
Yeah.
Or whatever the heck he does. But yeah, I mean, they just need change all throughout that hockey operations front office. I know even Spezza, who we were so happy.
Yeah, he resigned.
He resigned because he didn't want to. Yeah. When Dubas is gone, I'm gone.
Yeah, he's like, we're a package deal too.
So, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think Shanahan, as much as anyone, has to go. Keefe's got to go too.
I think the best thing is to start from new. Keep the players, hire new management. Okay. You know,
and we talked a little bit about Brian Burke before. I know the Penguins are talking to Dubas.
Take Dubas, we'll take Burke.
Yeah. It didn't work with him in the past, but it'll work this time.
Oh, I think so.
Easy said, I guess.
I would hope so. Second time around, right?
He's the one who a few years ago called it and said this core with the Leafs just isn't going to work. He said that when he was working for Sportsnet.
Yeah.
And then now, hey, what if you were in a position to change it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. Now, what about the players, right? Like, we've seen it time and time and again. There's all kinds of mixed feelings among fans about, like, players, they need to keep this core. They need to get rid of them all. But to me, it just hasn't worked, right? Like, they've tried it enough times. If they were, like, still young, which they are relatively young.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If their contracts weren't a problem, then yeah, just keep trying. They're going to learn from these mistakes and they're going to get better.
Yeah.
But Matthews is becoming a free agent. No player of his caliber has ever accepted less money than he was already making to stay there, right? That just isn't going to happen. It won't.
No.
He says he wants to be here. The Leafs want to keep him, but they're going to have to pay him more, and his contract is already pretty hefty, right?
Yeah, I'll say.
They have Marner, they have Nylander, they have Tavares, they have Riley. How are they going to do it? There's a salary cap.
Yeah, and like you think that signing these four core players, right?
Yeah.
Top four guys, signing them these big deals. They're going to play the best of the best hockey over the last few seasons. They're playing okay, right? But it's almost like the money's kind of gone to their head in a way.
And in the regular season,
yeah,
they've all been great, but like, what's with Matthews in the playoffs, right? Like, he just doesn't produce.
No.
Marner too. I mean, he was okay in the first round. Tavares especially was good in the first round, and
don't forget about Nylander either, right?
And Nylander had his best year ever, so he's gonna want more.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna be easy.
And then Ryan O'Reilly, who we brought in for the playoffs, he didn't really do much in the second round either.
And speaking of O'Reilly, I heard that he's gonna test free agency.
Yeah,
so he might be gone before you know it.
How are they gonna keep these guys? They just can't. Like,
it's a mess.
They don't have the money for them as is. Like, Dubas has signed these guys to these contracts, and he's done everything he can to build a good team around them. Everything he's tried just hasn't worked. Again, give it a few more years. The Washington Capitals were in that situation. They could never win in the playoffs after all the seasons they had. And then finally, when you didn't expect it, they did win.
Yeah.
But I think the Leafs are just in a worse salary cap situation than even they were.
That's
and the cap, goes up every year, but not by a lot.
No.
With how these guys perform in the playoffs and how much money they're going to want and how hard it's going to be to continue trying to build a better team around them, what Dubas tried just didn't work. And at the end of the day, the team he's built, I think you just can't keep them all.
No. Something's got to change, but you've
got some pieces, but
yeah.
It's just, I'm going to say Matthews. Like, I've had enough of him in the playoffs, right? Like, whatever. He's a superstar, right? We know that. He is.
Yeah.
Was he the first Leaf ever to score 60?
I
mean, first since Rick Vive, at least.
Yeah.
But
take that in consideration for sure. And also that he's a superstar, like you said. He's going to want top dollar.
What he's done in the playoffs versus how much money he's going to want, I'm just done with him. I don't think they can keep him. He's a free agent next summer, not this. So it raises the question, maybe this year you go all in with this group of guys, now or never,
right? From there, right?
But we've said that the last few years, right? And what's happened?
Yeah.
Or do you take the approach, Matthews is going to go anyway because we can't keep him. Do we trade him now to get something back, right?
Yeah, like at the trade deadline, right?
Some Leafs fans would be freaking out at the fact that I just said that. Like you're gonna listen to that, but you got to put things into perspective, right? Like
Yeah,
I
look
don't,
at the long-term goal.
yeah, I don't know if this team is going to be able to win as they're built now. And they're, if they keep him, it's only going to get worse. So
Yeah.
he's probably not going to stay. Maybe you trade him. Again, there's Marner, there's Nylander, true. There's those guys too.
Yeah.
But I just think Matthews, considering how much he's worth, not just as a player, but like the media, right? Like I say LA would be the best place for him to play. People say Arizona. No, he's not going there.
Exactly.
Like, they're not even going to have a team.
Yeah,
But,
like really.
yeah. Or
Love it.
Houston, whatever crazy market that then is going to move them to. But
Yeah.
no, LA. Could you imagine him? Like he's from Arizona. He's born in California originally.
Yeah.
Also not far from Arizona. Him playing in Southern California, close to home, LA, the big market, the weather, the media, the spotlight. He loves that, right? He loves being in the spotlight.
Yeah, don't
He
forget.
loves partying. He would love playing in a market like that.
Yeah.
I think if you were a free agent not staying with the Leafs, that's where you'd want to go. And that's
Yeah.
a team on the rise.
And they're a contender still too, right?
They're gonna be a contender even more so,
Yeah.
right? And again, in LA, he'd be popular because like an American, not only American but born in Southern California, a
That's
guy
right.
who loves the media, loves the spotlight, loves the attention. He would love it there. And, he likes to have fun and party and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think that's a good fit for him. I was just thinking, what if the Leafs decided to make a trade this offseason? I don't know who makes the trades if Dubas is gone.
Yeah, someone will if it happens.
Let's say we send Matthews to LA for the last year of his contract. Obviously, they got to get a good return, but how about Quinton Byfield?
Oh, bring in the boy back.
Good Ontario boy. He understands what it means to wear the blue and white.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was a Lightning fan actually growing up, but that's still blue and white.
Yeah. But say you trade Matthews for Byfield, you want someone else.
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna get
sure.
a lot in return.
Like
some draft picks. I don't know, maybe Doughty even, right?
Doughty, Byfield,
he's
a couple
still a
first
great
rounders.
defenseman, but he's past his prime.
Filling
I'm
for
just
muscle.
throwing things out there, right? Like I haven't actually looked at the logistics of this trade,
Oh
but
yeah, for sure.
it's just an idea, right?
Yeah.
Send Matthews to LA, get back Quinton Byfield as the main piece. A good Ontario boy. He's from
Throw Doughty in there.
Yeah, throw Doughty in there.
Couple first rounders.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, we'll take that. Maybe Sean Walker, another big D man from Keswick.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Hey, it's an idea at least, right?
That's worst case scenario, right?
But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I think more likely Matthews is going to still be here, and they're going to have the same core. But we'll see what happens.
I hope so. I didn't pay for a jersey that was $300 all for nothing.
So that's that with the Leafs. We'll see what happens now.
Oh,
of course, the World Championships are on, but none of the actually even Nylander didn't go play for Sweden, which is rare. But Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Tavares, Riley, even Bunting, they could all be playing for Canada right now, but no, they're not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's that. And then the Panthers, again, Panthers and Hurricanes in the conference final. I knew that I wasn't going to watch a minute of that series. The first game went to quadruple overtime. I didn't even hear about it until a few days after because I wasn't paying attention.
That's a lot of overtime.
Yeah, and then the Stars and Golden Knights, I mean, both two non-traditional markets. At least they were good teams, though, deserving to be there.
Yeah.
A shame for the Oilers, but they lost to a good team. I think the Golden Knights are probably the best team in it now. Even, their goalie situation's a little up in the air, but
yeah.
The Panthers, it's their goalie, Bobrovsky, that's been carrying them, right? And that's the thing with the playoffs. You never know. A goalie gets hot and he takes his team all the way.
Yeah, you never.
Bobrovsky, right? Like he signed that huge contract. He's been up and down since he's been there. Sometimes good, sometimes not. Yeah. But now when they need him most, he performs to his full ability, right?
Yeah.
Something that you don't really see the Leafs players doing.
Yeah.
So give him credit for that.
No, for sure.
And Matthew Tkachuk too.
Yeah.
I mean, last season, I would have never guessed that the Panthers won that Tkachuk-Huberdeau trade. And you know what? Huberdeau had a down year. I'm sure that in the long run, maybe the Flames did win it. But right now, it's, Huberdeau had a down year. The Flames, disappointing season, missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then Huberdeau, everything he's done for that team. I don't like the guy. He's tough to play against. But, yeah, Tkachuk, him and Bobrovsky are both carrying that team. Right now, if you're a Panthers fan, you're honestly loving that trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe in the long term you don't, but if they do get a cup out of it, then whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or floats your boat, right?
And Huberdeau, you know what? Again, not to get too much into this, but everyone who said last year was a fluke, it wasn't. Like he was putting up 90 points a year for a few years in a row in Florida. Just no one paid attention because it was Florida. And then I think the pandemic year, 56 games, he was on pace for over 100, but didn't finish the year.
He's definitely
And
a
then
very good
last year he
player.
puts up 114. And yeah, underrated player. Same market his whole career. Goes to the new team, new conference. Struggles a little bit. I'm sure next year he'll be better.
You'll see the Flames being a contender in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
hopefully the Flames bounce back from that. It's just as of right now, obviously Huberdeau, what he's done in, or not Huberdeau, Kachuk, what he's done in Florida. That it's really worked out for them so far. So
yeah, for sure.
well, I mean, whatever fans that team does have, they've got to be happy with them and good for them. But you know what? I just don't care about it, partly because of all the other good hockey that there's on to watch. So we mentioned the World Championships last week, and Canada is playing their quarterfinal game against Latvia tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Or semifinals, actually. Latvia made it to the semifinals. Canada beat Finland in the quarters, which, I mean, it's been a crazy tournament, as it often is, especially the last couple of years without Russia, and a lot of top-end players haven't been there.
Oh, for sure.
Since the pandemic, for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Canada's team not all that deep, but a lot of the other teams aren't either. The Americans are the only big hockey country really that are still in it. I remember last time we recorded this, I thought that Jake Gensel was going. I guess he pulled out, so he's not there.
Yeah.
So the American team looks similar to the Canadians. They're both still in it. They might meet in the finals, which the Americans don't usually send a good team to that tournament. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Switzerland won the pool with Canada in it. They beat us in the preliminary round. And in that game, you probably saw Joe Veleno's stomp on, was it Niederreiter whose leg
he was on the back
on?
leg?
Yeah, that was
uncomfortable.
It was shocking that he did that. That was a dirty play, and I didn't think Veleno was that kind of player, but yeah, he's gone for the tournament.
Yeah, that guy, unbelievable, terrible.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's banned from IIHF competition after that.
Yeah, you just don't do that. Look what happened to Carlson in the NHL a few years back. Seen similar play in the boards, not on purpose. Same sort of thing could end his career. You don't do that even if you're mad, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if Veleno's banned from international competition.
As he should be in a way,
But it was a blow for Canada. He was our leading scorer, and he's out for the tournament now. But
don't get me wrong when I said as he should be.
Yeah, and Canada, you know what? They bounced back. So again, not the deepest team, and then they lost to Switzerland. They lost to Norway in a shootout, which that's a pretty brutal upset. I mean, Norway, you shouldn't even be going to overtime against them. They're just, with all due respect, they are a hockey country, but they're not a good hockey country. So Canada, easy pool, but we don't win, become second, and then Finland, slightly harder pool, but they come third. So Canada and Finland, probably the best two teams in this tournament in the last few years. Meet in the quarterfinals. Canada beats them. And Samuel Montembeault has been great between the pipes for Canada, which, funny, is the last time I was mentioning Canada's goalies, and I mentioned the other two, but not him. I forgot about him.
It's all good.
Under the radar, he had a good season with the Canadians, right?
Yeah.
But the Canadians were so bad, he just didn't get any attention.
That's right.
And he's really opening some eyes in this tournament, especially among the European fans who don't know about him.
Who else is Montreal's goalie now?
Yeah, I guess it's him.
Yeah, it must be.
But no, yeah, he's opening up some eyes for sure in the hockey world with what he's doing now, and especially in other countries because they don't know about him. And to all those European hockey countries, the World Championship is as big as it gets, and they're saying, "Who is this guy shutting us down?"
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all great to see. Canada's in the semifinals. Should be an easy win tomorrow against Latvia, but hey, just like the Florida Panthers, not a great team, but they made it this far. They beat Sweden in the quarters to get there.
Yeah.
Well, damn, if they can beat Sweden, then maybe they are dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's their goaltending. So they've been carried in this tournament. I mean, with Latvia, the story is always a goalie.
Yeah.
Former Barrie Colt, Arturs Silvas, has been their starting goalie. But another goalie they have on the roster who hasn't even played yet is Kristers Gudlevskis.
Oh, wow.
That guy, he always shuts down Canada. That's his history. The 2014 Olympics, he did it. The World Championships in the past, he's done it. He's always fantastic against Canada. I don't know what it is about this guy. He was never really a good goalie in North American pro hockey. He made it to the AHL. He never really played in the NHL.
Yeah.
But Yeah, he just performs great against Canada. So I'm like, hey, Sealvoss has been carrying them all tournament, but you're playing Canada in an elimination game, and you have this guy on your roster,
Yeah.
and I might consider playing him.
Yeah, really.
Either way, Latvia's goalies are always the story. I mean, I think last time Latvia beat Canada, it was actually that Matisse guy who died in that incident a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But
fortunate.
yeah, member of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and
Yeah.
another Latvian goalie, Elvis Merzlikins, on the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, don't forget about him.
Latvia, not a great hockey country, but they sure produce some goalies.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that game. And also, the Memorial Cup is on now, since the last time we recorded this.
Very true.
More hockey content. The OHL finals were just starting, right? It was Peterborough against London.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Great series, two great teams. The Petes have been on a roll, huh?
Yeah, I'll say.
They started the season great, and then they fell off a little bit. They finished 4th, but they've been on fire in the playoffs. They knock off the 1 seed Ottawa 67s in the second round.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
A little bit like the Panthers, but a 4 seed, better than a bottom seed. They're still a respectable team, but
for sure.
People were surprised that they won that series. Then they beat North Bay. And then London. London had some big name players that I didn't know were there still.
London Knights.
Yeah, they bounced back. They beat London in 6. So now that team, they've been on such a run.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Hoffman, we all know him, former Don Mills Flyer, World Junior, gold medalist with Canada. But they've got a lot of other depth as well, right? J.R. Avon has been scoring. Avery Hayes, Connor Lockhart, Tucker Robertson. Whole team's been producing. Sean Spearing, big D-man, captain, blocked a shot with his face in the conference final, Game 7, and then returns for the finals.
What a beauty.
Yeah. And then London, another good team. Ryan Winterton, former Hamilton Bulldog. I didn't know he was still in the OHL, but he had a good series. And then Logan Mailloux, the controversial defenseman on the Knights, still there. But you know what? Despite these big names, they beat him. They shot him down. So Memorial Cup is starting now. Seattle won the WHL championship. They have Dylan Gunther. So they're a pretty good team as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Cam Loop's the host, of course. Can't think off the top of my head who their big name player is, but they have a couple former World Junior guys too for Team Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Peterborough, of course. And then Quebec, who another team. They're very good, and they had a couple of World Junior guys as well. I can look at the roster right now, but you can look at it after. They were a good team as well. So that's going to be a good tournament. That's starting tonight. It's Kamloops against Quebec.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that game's starting tonight just after the Blue Jays game. So that'll be fun to watch.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow, man, we got who needs the NHL playoffs? We've got the World Championship semifinals, and we've got the Memorial Cup. Peterborough's playing. Got to rep Ontario.
There you go.
Every year.
There you go.
But yeah, any thoughts on the Memorial Cup?
Hopefully, it's going to be a good tournament. Best teams play the best of hockey they can do, right? And
hardest trophy in hockey to win, I'd say.
And we'll see who comes out on top, right?
Yeah. Even those who say the host shouldn't be there, it's like, they earn their spot by winning the bid.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it just makes it that much harder having to get through the team that's rested.
That's right.
But yeah, there's, I guess, more sports news lately. We had the PGA Championship last weekend. I wanted to maybe mention that briefly, but we saw Corey Connors, right, was in the contention right up until the final Sunday.
And then?
I don't know, this guy, in the last few years, there's been a lot of major championships where he's in contention right until the end, but he can't close it out.
No, he just kind of falls off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually the Masters. He plays very well there, but this time it was the PGA Championship. I mean, I guess the big story was there was a club pro who finished very well. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name, but
yeah,
that's the thing with the PGA Championship. Since it's the PGA, they let club pros play in it who qualify, but they don't normally do well.
And this guy came on
club
top.
Pro playing against actual tour pros finished top 15.
That's crazy.
So now he's got he makes a regular person's salary. He's in his 40s. Now he's been invited to the Canadian Open and to a bunch of other tournaments.
Maybe I'll see him there on the final day.
Yeah.
No, right? I'll
Pretty
be there.
Cool. That's a good story.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corey Connors was a little disappointing. just to get another major he was in the running for, and then couldn't close it out. But
unfortunate for that guy, for sure.
Whatever, he's a good Ontario kid too. Maybe someday he'll figure it out. Golfers can stay in their prime for a much longer time than other athletes, so he's got time.
Yep, that's for sure.
All right, well, that's that. Oh, I guess one more thing I wanted to mention in junior hockey was the Collingwood Blues.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't even know. It used to be called the RBC Cup. What's it called now? Do you remember?
I don't know. I thought it was always RBC Cup.
Changed the name, but
okay.
Yeah, Collingwood Blues, they won Ontario, and they made it to the national championships, which just wanted to give them a little shout out for that.
The dark guy.
Yeah, the dark guy, Jason Maslico. He still works as a scout there, so good for him for that team to be successful.
Yeah.
They ended up getting eliminated. They didn't win, but going to the national championships is still a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess with that being said, it's time to talk about the Blue Jays. Here we go. So what's happened since we've been gone?
A lot's happened, let's put it that way.
A lot.
They've kind of gone into a losing streak, it kind of seems like, and they're not playing the best of baseball right now.
Yeah, everything that we said we didn't want to happen, that can't happen this year. We said that at the beginning. It's happening.
Absolutely happened.
It's happening. We need to win the AL East, right? That's what we said. We're in last right now.
In our division, yeah.
And it's May. End of May.
Still early, but unacceptable baseball.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, they got off to they got off to a bad start going 1-3, but after that, they basically had a great April. Even though the Rays were still way ahead, it's like, hey, best April in franchise history. Traditionally, we're not a good starting team, like late April, early May. We always struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, May too. Like, is May ever a good month for the Blue Jays? Jeez.
Not in the past.
We say about April, but May too. 2014 is the only time in recent memory that I remember them having a great May.
Yeah.
And then they struggled the rest of the season and missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you never know,
you're
but
right.
It's just now we're in last, right? It's bad. And
doesn't look good.
All the work they did in April to put themselves in that good position, and we said, like, no ups and downs this year. We're just going to get off to a good start. We're going to play consistently well. As long as you don't get on any big losing streaks, you don't need the big winning streaks. You don't need to win 12 out of 15 games. You just need to play consistently well.
Exactly.
And they were doing
That's
that. But everything good, all the ground they made up in April, it's gone.
Yeah. Now they got to
one
battle
game
back.
above 500 now. Last in the AL East. Same position that they've been in the last few years. Struggling in May and need to battle back just to get into contention for this division.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
They're still a great team, and they're capable of doing it. But
for sure.
It's just they've got their work cut out for them, and that's not what we wanted. Because at the end of the day, like, they could still win the AL East, but it's going to be hard, right? It's a hefty task.
Oh, yeah.
More likely, they're going to get a wild card spot, which that's not what we want after last year.
We want the bye to the first.
We wanted to win this
division, right?
We know we're capable of it.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, trades and
it's tough to accept.
Right? Yeah.
But I don't know. In these last few weeks, what do you think's gone wrong?
I feel like pitching, 1, and base running errors, number 2. I would say is like the most problematic thing that could happen right now, and that's what's happening with them.
I mean, it's been a combination of a lot of things, I think, but
yeah. What do you think?
Failure to hit with runners in scoring position is probably the biggest.
That's one, yeah.
I mean, they've been talking about it a lot.
For sure.
But at times they have, and then it's something else. I mean, I know a couple times there, like Romano blew a couple saves there, but I don't know. Like, I'm not down on him. He hasn't even pitched much because of the situations they've been in. But so what do you like? What do you think of Romano? Do you trust him still?
I do and I don't. I do when he's playing the best baseball you can think of. But I feel like they rely on him way too much.
Yeah. Which it's a little bit contradictory because he hasn't pitched a lot lately. But
exactly. But another point is, he looked a bit tired, like Caleb Joseph said on the panel a couple of games ago. He's tired and he needs a rest, and not being used in such high-level situations. You could maybe use some other bullpen.
I think another thing, being used in situations he isn't used to. That's this year.
For sure.
Like, every time he comes in to start an inning in a save situation, or just with a lead, or a home game tied, he does well.
Yeah.
Every time he comes in a different inning, or tied on the road, or all these other situations, or he comes in a save situation in the 8th inning with guys on base. I mean, especially that situation, like being the best reliever, I think you've got to be able to pitch in those situations.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's struggling a little bit with that right now, I think for now, just keep him starting the inning fresh. come in to start the 9th.
Yeah, like
just
I can't
keep
agree
him in
more.
situations that he's used to, because he's shown that he's struggling. And again, when he kind of gets back in the rhythm, then bring him in those situations again. But
yeah, I think Schneider, I'm calling him out now.
And we talked about it last episode, how they were misusing the bullpen.
Yeah, and that all goes back to Schneider. He's putting Romano in the 8th inning and expecting him to get 4 outs minimum, sometimes 6 outs.
Yeah.
Right? 8th and 9th inning. You can't do that to a closer multiple times. He's gonna get tired, you know.
I mean, Romano has proven that he can do it in the past.
No, for sure.
But it's just right now he's not though. So
yeah, do you really want to rely on your closer doing that all the time?
Yeah, right? if it's not working for him, then don't keep putting him in that situation.
Exactly.
Again, I don't agree with it. I think he should be used in that situation, but I also don't think you should use him in situations that he's currently not performing well in.
And what about all of the arms are blowing in the bullpen during games?
Yeah, and he does a lot of other questionable things with his bullpen.
Yeah.
And what about Pearson? Has been pretty good since he got called up. I think he needs to pitch in more high leverage situations.
I agree.
Jimmy Garcia has not been good at all this year, right?
Like 3 out of the 4 last games I've watched, I've seen Garcia come in.
He had
maybe
a
couple
good ones at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think the bullpen has been part of the reason why they've struggled, on top of failing to capitalize with guys in scoring position. Because, there's Garcia, and then, Pop and Simber both being injured. It's almost like since that happened, there was a bit of a correlation.
Yeah.
But, Pop was pitching in big situations, doing well, and he's been out for a while now. Simber, we thought a couple weeks ago that he was about to come back, but only now has he been reinstated, right?
And that's another thing with Simber. He's been reinstated.
And they're not using him.
What came in the first game back against the Rays? The same day, I think he came in to pitch, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
they were winning big that game, right?
Yeah, but still, the guy just came off the injury list.
Yeah.
So you don't want to blow his arm out again, right? Or whatever injury he had.
I think that's a situation where it's okay, but
I
just hope they don't go in and start overusing him. And then Garcia,
exactly.
He was good last year. This year, I don't know. He's one of those guys where
they
go up and down. These bullpen guys, you can't rely on them all the time. I don't think he's trustworthy right now.
No, I agree. Like I said, last 3 games I've seen him Garcia, he's blown the league.
Anthony Bass obviously got off to a really bad start this year, but you know what? His last 7 outings, he's been good.
I've noticed that.
His ERA, he's back to what he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's time that they start trusting him again.
Yeah,
but they don't seem to be.
Yeah, something's up there.
So there's been some mismanagement, and then the players as well. We talked about it last time with the rosters, maybe not pinch hitting in situations where they could, or doing so, or starting Nathan Lucas and this whatever the guy's name is. Clement. Yeah, I've never even heard of him, and they were starting him.
Yeah.
So there's been some weird things, and then the rotation. Like we've said all season, every guy in that rotation has had their ups and downs. But lately, it's been a little more skewed. Bassett has been pretty great lately. Gosman, despite a couple of bad outings, Gosman's still been pretty good.
Yeah. And
Berrios, pretty solid still.
After a terrible season last year.
Kikuchi, though he had a great April, he's not been bad, especially with last year's expectations. But as May, he's been a little bit worse.
Yeah.
And then Manoah, right? Manoah, it seemed like he was maybe just kind of finding his game again last time we recorded this. But since then, he's had multiple bad starts. But what's going on there?
Yeah, something to do with his command or delivery or something. He can't find his sweet spot, And I feel like as more games goes on, he's going to be pitching and he's going to find his bounce back, right? And then he's going to be, I hope, untouchable. He needs that.
And we need him to be that too, right?
No, for sure. He's in the starting 5 for a reason.
We've had all these games that we come close to winning. There was the one, I think of the one against, was it the Rays, right? Yeah, in Tropicana, they were up 5-2.
Yeah.
And then Romano gives up the big home run to tie it.
Yeah.
Which he came in with guys on base already, right?
Yeah.
And then, they end up losing that game in extras.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just been, every game it's something different, but mostly it's one of our pitchers, our starters, isn't performing well, and then our offense can't keep up, or our offense has a good game, but same thing, pitching isn't there. Our pitcher has a great game, but our runners can't score when they're on base.
They gotta work on that.
Basically, the month of May, like we were talking about last time, they got off to a wacky start of May after their great April. They got swept by the Red Sox in that terrible series. Then they swept the Pirates. Things were looking good again.
Yeah.
They get swept by the Phillies, and then they sweep the Braves.
Yeah.
So like I said at the start of the year, like it's good to sweep teams, but like if you're sweeping and then getting swept, I mean your record's 500. They're still underperforming. It's much safer just win consistently, and they weren't doing that.
No.
But since then, things have only gotten worse because now they've won one game against the Yankees. They won one game against the Rays. They got swept by the Orioles.
That's like
this month of May has gotten off from what it was like, a mediocre start, not great. It's only gotten worse. Now overall, this month of May is looking terrible, disastrous. I mean, again, last year, the record after it was only like in the second half of May that they started playing well last year. And I said, like, hey, the record after May is better than it was in 15, 16, 21. It just happens every year. But I thought that this year was going to be different. I guess it's not. And then last year, like, they started playing well in late May, but then it was in July. They went on a losing streak and then fired Charlie.
Yeah, so if they're on this losing streak now, let's hope they change it, go on an amazing run, like a hot streak.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to talk about Mattingly.
Yeah, that's another good point. If they go on a run and they do great. But if they don't and they fire Schneider, who do you call up to take over? Don Mattingly.
It would just be hilarious if it ends up being a mirror image of what happened last year. Like, we don't want that to happen again, but it could.
Donnie Baseball's there for a reason now.
A lot of people are questioning Schneider right now. It's not just us.
No.
And, I mean, up 3-0 right now against the Twins. Just taking a little glance at the TV there.
Yeah, so Mark at home run for us, and then Bichette.
Yeah, but, yeah, I know, like, it's just not ideal, right? Like, we thought that we were going to hopefully at least be in contention for the division the whole year. Just, make a statement at the start.
Yeah.
We're not going to go through this drama. We're just going to be a good team, and that's what you need to do to put yourself in a position to win the division. Now we're relying on the team to, catch fire and go on a huge run in July or August or September.
Yeah.
You can't always rely on that, right?
No, you can't.
It's like, I'm sure that they're going to bounce back. Like, we know what this team is capable of. We've seen what they did in April and what they've done at times in May.
Yeah.
Right? They've shown what they can do.
For sure.
But they're just not doing it consistently.
Yeah.
So I'm sure at some point they'll go on a run. They'll get in a wild card spot. But it's just winning the division now. Like, it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
I know they can do it, but it's going to be very hard.
It's not going to be easy.
And they're going to need to go on a run like they did in 2015 in the second half of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, they've done it before. And, like, this team, yeah, they could do it. But it's just, we don't want that, right? If you're going to go on a great run in the second half of the season, it's better if you were already off to a good start. And then you definitely win your division.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially playing in such a hard division, right? Like, it's not like we're just trying to catch the Rays. We're in last. We've got to catch the Red Sox, Yankees, Orioles.
Yeah.
Like,
they have their work cut out for them, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with that being said, even despite the bad May, like, since we were last here, or maybe even since the start of the season, are there any players that have impressed you so far that maybe you weren't expecting? Or maybe any players that have disappointed?
Varsho stepped up, even though he's had, some up and down, right? He's become a fan favorite. He stepped
up when we needed him, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the case.
Yeah, and then Belt. I thought he was going to be great. DH guy, playing first base. Slow start to the season, and now he's kind of coming alive, I want to say.
He did for a bit there. Yeah. I think the last week or so, he's been back down to where he was, maybe.
Yeah. And then Bichette. They signed the guy, the 3-year deal, right? Yeah. Extension. And he's not really lived up to it yet. He's made too many errors.
It's true.
But if you trade him, he's going to go off, right? So what do you do?
He's been a fantastic hitter this year. I think there's no denying that.
No, for sure.
And it's one of, he goes on, he's a very consistent guy, right?
Yeah.
And, he's been steady this year. Like, unlike,
he's the best
he's steady. And then sometimes he gets really hot. This year, he's been, on top of his game at the plate the whole year.
And now that I've talked some trash about him, his defense has kind of been streaky, but since I've talked some trash about him, I'm not going to talk some good about him.
Yeah.
He's a great 2-strike hitter and has a great eye for the ball to play, so.
Yeah.
You don't
know
get
what?
That.
He's been part of some rallies the last few games, right?
For sure.
I mean, and the team, that series against the Rays, they had some games they'd blow it and then they'd try to come back too little, too late. I think there was one game actually where he was up with guys in scoring position right when they were down 6-4 and he grounded out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a tough situation. You don't expect them to come up clutch every time.
No, for sure.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's true, like what you say, like his hitting's been great, but his defense has been a problem. Like we knew it would be, and that's why I still say like they could try and move him to second maybe.
Yeah, find that alternative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like players that I've been happy with.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, Kiermaier for one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just it was last episode we were saying he was just starting to cool off, but then after that, like in May, I think his average has been maybe even better than April.
Yeah, and he'll lead off.
So he's been one of the bright spots.
Yeah.
And then Whit Merrifield, I've been really happy with
Mr.
what he's done.
Speed over there.
So many questions about what was going to happen at second.
Yeah.
Merrifield he's been hitting steady all year, right?
Yeah. And the base running, don't forget about that.
He's the type of hitter that they just haven't had in the past.
Yeah.
And his base running, like
unbelievable.
What he did the other day against was the Orioles, right? They still lost the game.
But when he stole third.
He comes in as it was one of the few games lately that he didn't start. He comes in as a pinch runner for injured Espinal.
And what happens? First pitch.
He comes out there, and he's running on the spot. He's stretching it out, like he's doing all this wacky stuff. It's like, yeah, they need to warm up, but like that seems a little excessive. He's coming in as a pinch runner for an injured player.
Yeah.
But he's sending the message like, oh, I'm coming into the game. Like, what? I wasn't expecting that. Oh, I'm not loose. Like, he's doing all this foolish stuff, stretching. They're just thinking like, oh, what's this guy doing? And then first pitch, after doing all that, he takes off and steals third.
Let me rephrase that. Before the pitch even left the pitcher's hand, he was on third base.
It's when you come in as a pinch runner in a normal situation, it's like they're expecting you to steal because you came in for your speed.
Yeah.
When you come in to replace an injured player, they're not really expecting it. And especially, he made it seem like he was not expecting to come into that game. And Caleb Joseph said it on the broadcast. He did that all on purpose. It was a decoy.
Oh, absolutely. I can't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on him.
So yeah, I've loved Merrifield and Kiermaier as well.
Yeah.
Varsho I've liked, even though I mean he hasn't been great, but we knew that's what we were getting. He's a power hitter and he's streaky, but he has speed and he has defense.
Yeah.
He's not really a contact hitter. He can be when he's hot, but he's not consistent.
Right.
We knew we were getting that from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Guerrero I think has been not as hot as he can possibly get, but he's been pretty good at the plate.
And his defense has been.
I mean, there was last game. I think there was some questions, but it was a one-off. He's
normally good. But he's still like adapted to playing first base pretty well overall, I would say.
Chapman has had a great season at the plate. Although his defense, he's made some great plays at times, but
in some areas too.
His defense hasn't been what it was last year.
Right.
Hopefully he comes around.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Springer's been a player, I think. I mean, I still have all confidence in him, but he hasn't really had the year we expected.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah, like I was thinking, I said it here, right? 280, 25 home runs, 90 RBIs. He's not on pace for that by any means. That being said, he's on base right now, it looks like.
No, that's Kiermaier.
He's about to come up. He's about to come up.
And that was Kiermaier. They hit a double into a triple.
Talk about struggling with runners in scoring position. Springer's coming up with Kiermaier at third and one out. So we'll see what happens here.
He posted on that.
But no, he's just not having the season we expected.
Yeah.
And BGO is another guy. I mean, I wouldn't say my expectations were high, but I was hoping that maybe this would be his breakout year.
But look what he did. Look at the game Biggio was called in last game. Pinch hitter, hits a leadoff or
home run.
Yeah, like that's unbelievable. That's what he needs unbelievable. To do. He's never done that before, right?
But just talk about like the second base job. I thought that it was up for grabs, you know. I thought maybe that BGO would take that job, but it's been Merrifield.
And Espinal's injured, right?
Yeah.
Hamstring injury, so it's
more of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Not to mention he can play in the outfield too.
Right.
But
exactly.
Oh my God. Again. I mean, we're up in the game, but these rundowns, they can't do anything with guys in scoring position.
Oh, up top, we got the Jays game.
Runners at third with less than 2 outs. Good teams capitalize in those situations. These guys just aren't. They're making base running errors, like you said.
Yeah, it's got to stop.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is gonna get posted in a couple days. Hopefully, you're gonna know the result of this game by the time. But
yeah,
up 3-0 on the Twins in the 5th inning. So, I don't know. Anything else you wanted to talk about with these Blue Jays?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. except like.
We need Manoah to step it up. Springer needs to come around.
Yeah, and they got to play the best.
The
baseball.
bullpen's got to be more solid too. Like we can't have, especially with injuries, we can't have that starting to have an impact.
No, exactly.
And yeah, like I don't know if clutch is a real thing or not, but it's not that you need to hit every time there's a runner in scoring position, but you need to advance. You need to run the bases smart, right?
Yeah.
You need to do the right thing. Like, oh, runner at second, hit it to the right side of the field. We'll go to third, even if it's an out.
I can't agree more.
Yeah.
Like always, like what Buck Martinez says when he's broadcasting: smart baseball wins you baseball.
Yeah. Or if they draw the infield in, it's like, okay, I need to hit a blooper. That would normally be an out, but it'll go over their heads now.
Yeah.
If I hit a routine grounder, nobody advances.
Right.
Or I hit a hard grounder, it gets through them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they just don't have those approaches. They just, hit with the same approach that they do with nobody on base. Which
exactly.
It's not the right thing. Yeah. So that about sums it up for this week.
Yeah.
How about your fantasy team? How are they doing?
Pretty good, not gonna lie. Fourth place out of 12 teams.
Mine's still struggling. Yeah. Still, it's a long season, and it's like the Blue Jays. Like last week, I was up like 7-4, and then on the last day, like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Mine was the absolute opposite.
Kershaw had a terrible outing. Like lost all my pitching stats that I was winning in the week prior to that. Yeah. All my hitters did nothing that day. But no, overall, like I just think I had a bad start. I had some injuries, but my team, like, look at my infield. I have Freeman at first. Altuve is back now. I have Tatis at shortstop. Mm-hmm. I have Ty France at third with Rendon, who I picked up when he was hot. He's injured now. He'll be back. And then I have Tim Anderson.
Wow.
Another
pretty good
team, not gonna lie, my utility. And then I have Trout. And then my pitching's gotten better. I have Logan Webb has been better. Kershaw, it's Logan Webb, but I have Kershaw has been very good except for that last outing. And then Gonsolin. Tony Gonsolin's back now and doing well, but
for sure.
No, I just haven't been winning. And you know what, Romano as my best relief pitcher lately hasn't been going well since he hasn't been pitching a lot. But
exactly.
Oh well, it's a long season. My team's in last, but I just need to come 8th to make the playoffs.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, well, the Florida Panthers have proved it. Not only them, but the Miami Heat too.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I haven't been paying any attention to the NBA playoffs since the Raptors went out, but exact same thing is happening, right? Miami Heat, another South Florida team, doing exactly what the Panthers are doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. This video will be posted the next couple days, and then we'll be back here in the next couple weeks. Anything else?
I think you covered everything.
All right, well.
Thanks for watching.
That's a wrap for this week. We'll see you next time.